let's take a look at Once Upon a Tiny Time. Your day is cut into 6 periods of 10 seconds. Each of these periods is dedicated to a task. Alright, there's a lot going on. Maybe it'll be easy to follow once I'm in-game, but if I have to memorize all this, it might be a problem. I like your video here of showing the gameplay. I don't know if you can make it a little bit bigger or not. Alright, let's try it. Alright, do I have limited ammo? I don't see an ammo counter. I appreciate the English subtitles. Time is moving very quickly, the shadows are kind of distracting. It's kind of difficult to read subtitles while also trying to play the game. Yeah, I'm missing some of the subtitles because I have to do this at the same time. Oh, there are people in my house. Okay. I completely missed. I guess it'd be nice to have like a some sort of notification that I'm being attacked.
He can now go back to his garden and see if his vegetables have...
There's not much feedback when I'm putting the humans into the grinders, so it's kind of hard to tell if I'm actually doing it right or not. Another thing is that I seem to have infinite ammo with my gun, but I have to click every time to fire. So I think it would make more sense if I could just hold down the button to fire. Having to click every time is hard on some people's hands. It'd be nice if I could just hold down the button, since there's no downside to not doing it, you know? Just makes your game more accessible to other people.
I mean, don't you find it awkward? Don't answer, I'm not Dora, explode.
To be honest, I don't know what harvesting these things is doing. I see that there's a counter up in the top left. I don't know how to reload my turrets. I think I am okay, so I am reloading it. That little bar is filling up, but I can't see the bar, so it's kind of unclear. And there's like those cycles you were talking about, but I'm not seeing any effect on the gameplay due to the cycles. It seems like humans are just kind of coming at a regular rate, and I'm not doing anything differently during the different times of day. Okay, so I think I'm using the crops that I'm harvesting to refill my turrets. And I think I'm using the humans to refill the things that are making the plants grow. So it seems like you just kind of harvest crops, refill your turrets with the crops, and kill humans, and then use their bodies to make more crops. The thing is, the gun is so powerful, it's like, do you even need the turrets? Because if the only reason for me to leave this position is to go refill the turrets, because it seems like that's what all the resources are leading to, it's like, why don't I just stand right here and just kill them all with the gun? There's no reason for me to leave this position. These assets look really good, by the way. I don't know if you made these or not, but I'm pretty sure you did, because these look very specific to your game. And if so, very impressive modeling work for such a short period of time. Yeah, like the turrets seem so weak in comparison to the gun, so it's like, why even bother with them? If I had more of a reason to leave this position, it might be more fun. Like, maybe I have to interact with the bodies or something, but then you could just wait for the bodies to get closer because the humans are coming straight to you, so the only reason to leave is, again, for refilling turrets. I think I just need more of a reason to explore and move around, I guess. Because it's boring to stand right here, but it seems like it's the optimal strategy. And, you know, people will always try to optimize the fun out of your game if you give them the opportunity. Maybe if the humans had multiple targets they could run to instead of always just coming back to the house every time, it might be more of a reason for me to leave this position. But as it is now, I don't really see any reason to leave the house. The turrets don't seem to do very much in comparison to just standing here and shooting them. So let me just reread this real quick to make sure I didn't miss any gameplay that I didn't even interact with. I did kind of enjoy having like a rest period between waves. That was a good use of time. I just don't think that the splitting up into 6 times is really 10 seconds, I suppose. I don't know. It seems like kind of a stretch on the 10-second theme. The shooting felt nice. I mean, the gun was overpowered, clearly. And I would prefer to be able to hold down the button instead of clicking it constantly. But it did feel good to, you know, kill the things that were running at you. The models are so good. Like, the art looks really good if you really did all this in this time period. You were missing a lot of sound effects. The only sound effect you had was really the gun shooting. I didn't have much feedback on when I was refilling the fertilizer machines, the grinders. I didn't get feedback on when the humans were attacking me, when they were attacking my house. I think audio really could have used some help here. So, yeah, it looks really good. I like your modeling work for sure. Very impressive presentation. I just think that there was a big design flaw in the fact that you don't need to interact with most of the game's mechanics. You can just stand still and fire at enemies, and you can win all just completely fine like that. My suggestion would just be make it so that your mechanics are more required. Otherwise, people are just going to optimize the fun out of it and just stand in one place. Sir Golden, the lawyer of the Minnowtaur. You, Sir Gold, a goldfish knight of high renown, have been tasked with saving the princess from Minnowtaurs. Minnowtaurs. Oh, it's a minnow. I got it. Funny pun. Lair. It should be L-A-I-R. Not layer like layers, but layer like a place you stay. Every 10 seconds, Sir Gold will forget where he is. Such is the memory of a goldfish. Save my daughter from the deadly Minnowtaur. I like your artwork here. It's pretty cute. Watch out for appalling urchins and hideous hook traps. I like how when you cursor over it, they animate like... That's good. Good stuff. And please try to remember where you're going. Okay. Pretty good sprite work. I like the color palette. The character contrasts with the background well, doing orange and blue. Okay, I see a timer in the top right that looks like what happens when that runs out. Okay, then I forget where I've been. Okay, got it. So, every 10 seconds I no longer have, like, the fog of war where I was before. Interesting, because I don't know when I would be backtracking that often, I guess. I guess I need to backtrack now, but, like, I can tell where I need to go without having to have all the area behind me unveiled. Okay, so I'm collecting these magnifying glasses that I assume, like, show the area around me when I click the button. I don't know how useful those are going to be, because you can kind of just unveil everything just by walking. So far, I haven't felt the need to use the magnifying glasses. We'll see if that changes. Okay, so there's a hole in the ground. I just cannot walk into it. Okay. You're like bouncing me backwards when I run into these. But I think it's better just to let the player walk into it and just not move. It kind of is confusing to like try to get bounced back because it's not like I'm gonna stop holding left if I go into it. So it's not like you're anyway, small thing. Oh, do you have 4 directions or do you have 8 directions? You have 8 directions on your sprite? That's a lot of work to do in 2 days. Wow. Yeah, a lot of work was put into these sprites. Alright, so we got the first urchin that I've seen. So I think my goal is just to find the end of the maze, correct? Oh, okay, here's a sword. So now I can swing my sword, okay. Do I need to swing my sword at all? Is there going to be like a barrier that I have to break with the sword or something? Or is it just to get rid of sea urchins that I can walk by anyway? And the traps you definitely don't need. Okay, there we go. So this is why you would need the sword to get to this area. And that was just to get 2 more magnifying glasses. Which again, I don't really see the point of magnifying glasses as it is now. They're really not... Well, I guess if you don't want to get hit by these things, so I guess I'll do this. Oops. Okay, so it zooms out your camera and also has a thing around there. So I like that the magnifying glasses are kind of needed here in order not to die. You're making good use of your mechanic there. I just don't know if I like the mechanic in general. But we'll see. I shouldn't go down yet. These one square gaps are kind of difficult to get through because of your bouncing back when you hit a wall situation. And also when the traps are right up against a wall like that, when I'm trying to go above it and I keep bouncing off the wall, that's kind of scary. It feels like I might hit it, not of my own fault. So I haven't really cared about the disappearing fog much. I feel like you don't really need to backtrack that often. Ah. Okay. I see the point of the magnifying glasses more now than I did before. So I like that mechanic. I'm still not sure on the getting rid of your ult vision. Oops, I dropped my sword. Okay, so did I get to the end or something? Because... what the hell? Now there's axes and... Oh, there he is. Okay. I'm confused why I was brought to this area all of a sudden. It was like I kind of just went down a hallway that didn't seem to be important at all. Oh, there's 4 hearts up there. That seems useful. Yeah, that hallway didn't seem like it was about to teleport me to a new area or whatever the heck just happened. It's not entirely clear. Alright, so I need to get down that corridor over there. This character does feel a bit slow for how long these mazes are. Like, it's really frustrating when you go the wrong way and then you have to turn all the way around just because of how slowly you walk. There's no time limit or anything, so I don't see the point in making the corridors this long. There's my sword. This whole area over here, like, I had to go down this long gauntlet to get my sword and those hearts. But, like I said, since there's no enemies in this area, it feels very tedious. It's not like I'm doing anything difficult, I'm just walking down a long hallway with a very slow character. So, if you're gonna make, like, a mad dash to get your sword in, like, this long corridor at the end, at least try to make it difficult, I think. Now. Oh, do I not kill the Minnowtaur? Oh, I do kill him. He's a one-shot kill. That's kind of a bummer. You win, thanks for playing. Your time, 10:44. Okay. The Fog of War resets every 10 seconds, which honestly I didn't really care about. Like, I never felt like I was like, oh man, where did I just come from? Because unlike a goldfish, I do have a memory that's longer than 10 seconds. The Fog of War was only really a problem when I was going around corners where fast-moving enemies were going, and then you had the magnifying glasses to help with that, which was a good use of that. I wasn't having fun at the parts where I was just walking down long corridors, and there was no enemies and no interaction. It was just like, try to find the right way. Mostly because of how slow the character was, that's why that part wasn't fun. I did have fun when I was using the magnifying glasses to look around corners to make sure that I can kill the enemies. I was not having fun when enemies were going through walls, because that felt unfair to get hit by that. So, like, the difference between that and the other ones is that when I come up to, like, a T in the road, like this, and I know, like, I'm on this path, and then I come up to, like, where there's a new path going the opposite direction, that's when I know to use the magnifying glass, because I know there might be an enemy going up and down this corridor. But if I'm walking along this path and then suddenly an enemy just cuts through the wall and hits me, that feels very unfair. Like, honestly, if you had not had the Fog of War at all, but just had your camera zoomed in slightly more, it would have been the exact same game. Because, like, when you use the magnifying glass, it zooms out your camera, which is the important part, not the fog disappearing part. Overall, really like this game. Again, the artwork is great. Thought it was very cute. how you implement, how you 10-second goldfish memory. And yeah, had a good time. Thank you for making it. All right, let's try out the Ariadaeus Run. Ariadaeus. The Ariadaeus Run. Move towards top of the screen to scroll faster. Move towards the bottom of the screen to scroll slower. The faster you scroll, the more points you score. Avoid obstacles to get to the end. If you're closer to the top, you'd have less time to react to enemies, but you'd get more points. And then lower. Okay, so it's a nice little trade-off. That'd be interesting to figure that one out. A satellite laser fires at you every 10 seconds. I hope there's some sort of warning where that's going to be. Let's try it out. Alright, so arrow keys Z and X. Okay, so X is jump. Z is boost. Okay. So I'm getting faster. It seems to be discrete whether you go fast, medium, or slow, I guess. So I think it's like 3 sections of the screen. It isn't like a gradient from what I could tell. So technically the best place to stay would be right here. Because right here I'm in the fast zone, but I get the most time to react to things. Okay, so that was interesting. The laser is like locked on me for a long time, and it doesn't do anything. And then it does this sort of thing, and I don't need to do anything to dodge it. My car is going fast enough where even if I just go completely straight, I don't get hit by it, I think. Okay. It would make it more interesting to dodge that way. Okay, so you do get hit if you're in the middle area. So the only way you dodge it automatically is if you're in the fast area near the top. I guess if you boost as well, you'd be able to dodge it. It's funny because being at the top actually makes the game easier in some ways. By, being able to automatically dodge the laser beam. I don't particularly like that. It's just kind of like getting rid of one of the mechanics of your game by just staying in a specific location. It's unfortunate because you probably put a lot of work into making the laser, and if I'm not even paying attention to it, it just kind of puts all that work to waste. If you are playing in this way, this game is no different than just a simple press left and right to dodge incoming obstacles. I don't see the point in the boost other than to dodge the laser, and you automatically dodge the laser if you're standing here. So, I don't know when I would ever use the boost. The jump cooldown makes it so that you want to move back sometimes, or else you're going to hit a rock. So I guess that's fairly interesting. But at the same time, I am too stubborn to move backwards, I think. Next time I feel like I'm not going to be able to make a jump, I'll move backwards to make it easier to dodge things. Like right here. Okay, interesting. Maybe that is where the difficulty comes in, is when it gets to the point where your jump cooldown is too long to jump between barricades of rocks. Alright, so I'm slowing down for this part. Okay. So that was kind of more scary, having to slow down while also having the laser on me, I guess. Interesting. So I got hit by the laser there, even though I was in the fast zone, I believe. Did I get hit because I jumped? I don't know what all the text around the sides of the screen is, because I can't look at that while I'm playing. Let me try one round where I'm in the slow area, and see if I can avoid the laser by boosting. This isn't as much fun being back here when it's slower. But it certainly seems easier. Which I guess is fine, because you can have like people choose their own difficulty. But, I mean, it's still difficult. Because you still have to actually engage with the laser mechanic. It'd be nice if there was a visual indicator near the middle of the screen about whether my boost and jump are ready or not. Because I don't really see them off the sides of the screen very well. And it'd be nicer if they were like visible near the middle, because that's where I am looking most of the time. Well, technically I'm looking at the top of the screen, I'm not looking at the middle of the screen. So maybe putting them at the top, but then you'd be blocking incoming obstacles Yeah, more near the middle would probably be better. I mean, I guess it helps that they're yellow and they can kind of stick out if you just know which side of the screen they're on. You can kind of look at them out of your peripheral vision. What happens if you run into one of these? Okay. I did that on purpose because I was trying to figure out if running into one of those would like just push me backwards or something, but it just kills you. Which is kind of confusing because if you run to the sides of the wall, you don't die, I don't think. Let me check real quick. Yeah, you don't die if you run to the sides, but you die if you run into the ones that are near the middle of the screen, which is confusing because it's the same design as the walls. So make your middle obstacles not look the same as your walls if they have different properties. But yeah, once you figure out where to stand and stuff, it feels pretty much the same as a press left and right to dodge things. And I know you can back up to try to, you know, deal with the jump cooldown, but that feels bad. It doesn't feel fun to slow yourself down to try to... It's like really difficult to do. I don't know. It's weird because it's like... Yes, it's more interesting to slow yourself down because the jump cooldown won't allow you to get past this next set of rocks. But at the same time, it's like scary to do so? I don't know. It should be challenging, but I don't want to do it because it feels like I'm gonna mess it up. So there's some really interesting design decisions here of being, you know, close to the top versus close to the bottom to change your score multiplier. And that's inherently interesting because when you're close to the top, you have less time to react, which makes it more of like a risk. It's a good risk reward in theory. The fact that there's just 3 discrete zones kind of takes away from that a bit, because basically you're always going to be on the cusp of one zone or another. The fact that you automatically dodge the laser by being in the fastest zone means that that's probably the safest place to be. I don't know, man. I want to like this game. I did kind of have a just one more time feeling a couple times. But other times they're just like, oh, that was bullshit. So the boost button was like completely useless in my opinion. You would use it if you're in the slow zone trying to dodge the laser. But other than that, I don't see a point in using it. It'd pretty much be an instant game over if you're near the top of the screen because there's no way you can react to obstacles that quickly. But there's definitely some things you were trying here. You were trying to solve the problems of the genre by having these different speed zones and stuff. Like, you solved the problem of like, okay, in these top-down shooters, why would you ever go near the top? Because you have less time to react. So people should never go near the top if they have the option to move around in like this top-down dodging thing. So I'll give them a reason to go to the top. You get more points, you go faster. Which is a good thing. I think that's a good design thought. Overall, I liked what you were trying to do with it. You were definitely trying to solve some problems of the genre, but at the same time I felt like I didn't want to engage with your mechanics. I wanted to stay in the top section because I can dodge the laser that way and not have to worry about that mechanic. So I'm trying to stay in the top zone so that I don't have to engage with the laser mechanic. And I'm also trying to not engage with the boost mechanic because I don't see any point of doing that other than to make it harder for yourself. And I don't want to engage with the 2 lower sections because it feels less optimal to be in those 2. So it feels like a game where you have a lot of things going on, but the player doesn't want to do any of them. It feels like you're putting yourself at a disadvantage by engaging with some of the mechanics, I guess.